Warning, the following podcast may cause you to question your belief in government, disregard authority, get arrested, be disowned, or deported.
It's May the 3rd, 2014, 2 days after Loyalty Day and May Day.
And before we get started, we want to remind everyone that if you enjoy the Curmudgeons, then please like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and rate our blog posts. We'd also love for you to subscribe to the podcast, and you can do that either via the RSS feed or iTunes. And we're also now on Stitcher, which is available for iOS and Android phones. All these links are available in the show notes and on our website, curmudgeons.net. Also, if you have any suggestions about topics for shows, send us an email or comment. Today we're sitting outside because it's a beautiful spring day, so if you hear any background noise, that's the reason.
We're taking a break from our normal style of doing things, and the new format is going to be discussing, I guess, Westerns.
Western books, or...
You're really annoying today. We should leave all this in.
We should. Western movies.
Yes.
So the topic is Western movies, and...
Westerners.
We didn't really put a lot of...
Thought?
Well, thought is one thing. Research, everyone knows we don't research anything. We didn't put a lot of guidelines or parameters around this either, so...
Exactly.
No idea where this is going to go.
We have 5, which blossomed in everyone's accounts to like 20.
20, yeah.
I think.
So we're going to try to stick to our top 5 Western movies, and then maybe we'll throw in some other ones. I'm sure we'll throw in other ones as we go along.
Mm-hmm. I think it's necessary.
Who has to go first is the question.
Well, what do we... first, we'll talk about the top 5, the best Westerns in our estimation.
That's right.
Okay. I'll say my number 5 if you're afraid to go first.
No, I'm not afraid to go first.
Okay.
The Horse Whisperer.
Top 5? Top 5. We're talking about the same thing.
It was a joke.
Yeah, I know.
That was a joke.
I know. It was not acceptable. That's not even a joke. How does that get on the lists?
You know what's funny is The Horse Whisperer is like number 30 on the top.
That's what I mean. How does it get on these lists? It's not a Western.
It's not a Western.
It's a pet movie.
All right, I'm gonna get flack for this probably at number 5, but I'm actually gonna go with the entire Man with No Name trilogy.
Oh, fail! Yes, you will get flack for that. I accept what you're doing with it.
They're basically the same movie.
No, they're not. I understand what you're doing.
All right, so this whole thing
It's like when we try to break out the Lord of the Rings trilogy, right?
The whole thing ran the risk of being just a list of Clint Eastwood movies anyway.
Agreed.
So
right.
I'm trying to narrow it a little.
I like that.
Provide a little
bit
of
that.
variety.
What I would contest is why 5? That's a mistake.
Why did we limit it ourselves?
No. Why is that at 5?
Oh, you think it should be higher?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, interesting. All right.
Of course.
All right. Why don't you give me your number 5?
My number 5 is True Grit.
Ooh.
Not the original True Grit.
Mm-hmm.
However, the redone version, I think 2010.
Yeah?
Yes. For one reason alone.
The dude abides.
Exactly. How is it that we have such a phenomenally talented actor who goes always unrecognized?
I think it's by his choice, though. He only does stuff he likes.
Yes. Well, okay. But why doesn't he get recognized for the things that he does do? Because he does them so incredibly well.
He doesn't do the movies that you know are going to win awards.
I know.
Right?
I know. Well, that's a whole blog post or podcast on why the Academy no longer matters.
Hasn't for a while.
Right.
There's another one. I'll leave it for now. But there's another actor in a movie on this list that is lower down, below 5, that I think has the same thing as the dude.
Okay. Interesting.
So this is on my list, but not at number 5. So we'll argue about it later.
Well, let's talk about the top 5 first.
Number 4.
Number 4.
Appaloosa.
Okay, this appears on my list.
I'm sorry, I've upset you.
No. This appears on my list of best Westerns I have not yet seen. This is number 2 on that list.
Okay.
However, it may be number 1 on that list. Since I haven't seen them, it's very hard to rank them.
Yeah, I actually found in making this list that there are way more Westerns that I haven't seen than I thought.
It's disturbing.
I seem to remember as a kid watching tons and tons of Westerns.
I'm convinced all I did, like my dad just put on anything that had John Wayne in it for like the first 10 years of my life.
Well, that's the other problem is I don't watch John Wayne movies.
Right, but when you're 10 or up till 10,
Yeah.
you don't have much choice there.
That's true. So Appaloosa, there's a great scene, and it's probably terrible that it's a great movie because of one scene, but the basic premise is like most Westerns. There's bad guys running the town. They need a good guy to come in, right? I like Appaloosa because it's similar to some other movies, which I'm sure are on the list, where they're not total heroes, right?
Yes.
It's not a black and white,
Yeah.
and Ed Harris and Viggo Mortensen are the guys that come in to clean the town up.
I was going to ask if it's got Viggo in it and Ed Harris.
Yeah.
It's got to be decent.
There's a scene where they're talking to the local town people, and they basically tell them, we need to be able to run the town to clean this problem. Like, well, you just tell us what laws, and we'll pass them. It's like, yep, we're going to need a lot of laws to make this all legal.
That's perfect.
It's perfect, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're number 4.
My number 4, The Outlaw Josie Wales. I had a hard time fitting this onto the list merely because I'm not convinced necessarily that it's a Western.
So my problem with a lot of the
Clint Eastwood.
That's the guy.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood ones is that it's been so long since I actually watched them.
Oh my goodness.
That they blur together, and I know I like all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But where they would rank, that's on my list, but it's lower down below 5.
See, it shouldn't be below 5. Or 4, actually. I'm at 4.
You think it shouldn't be below 5?
Obviously I put it at 4, so I don't think it should be below 5. It's got all the elements you need. It's got a renegade.
Yep.
But the renegade's the hero, which is the best kind of hero, right? The anti-hero. Supposedly, he's doing all this out of revenge, which is the classic Western motif. It covers every possible base, yet it's presented from a viewpoint that we're not used to. Most Westerns are this guy fought in the Civil War, yes.
Yeah.
However, he was on the...
He was a
Yankee.
Yeah.
Okay, so in this one, you actually get the Confederate, and he's actually a hero.
Well, and we'll take a little sidetrack here to say I have some other things we'll talk about afterward, other Western type things that aren't movies, right?
Okay.
The one that I really like is Hell on Wheels, the AMC show.
Yes, very good.
Which is similar to the premise of Josie Wales,
very,
right?
very close. I mean, it might as well be like a spin-off of...
That along with Cole Meany as the, the bad guy is priceless.
Well, and what's great about that is you have this Irish guy playing the guy running the evil capitalist. When in reality you had all these Irish guys in Manhattan and other areas of New York that were pressed into service for the Union.
That's right.
It's really good.
As you can probably tell from the lack of background noise now, we've moved inside due to the gale force winds that came up while we were attempting to record. So, let's pick up with number 3, where I'll get some flack, I'm sure. Pale Rider.
Pale Rider, I too had the same problems that you had with the Clint Eastwood movies.
Yep. Because
it has been probably 10 years since I've seen anything other than The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, which happens to be my number 3.
Really? So, The Pale Rider is the only Western I own on DVD.
I see. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is the only Western I own on DVD, ironically enough. Oh, that's not true. I also own Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, which I saw listed as a Western many places, but I don't see it as a Western.
I have never seen it. It's on my list now to watch. That's the interesting thing about this, is that I now have lots of Westerns on Netflix to go watch.
Yes. That's a great movie. However, I don't think it's a Western.
Yeah, and I have a list of movies like that.
And if it's a Western, it's a comedy Western or a train robbery Western or heist Western.
Not the traditional, what we're talking about when we say Western.
Exactly.
Yeah. I can't argue with yours on number 3 at all.
Yeah, I mean, you had it as number 5, right? As part of the trilogy.
Part of the trilogy, yeah. Yep. I like Pale Rider better. I like the so what's his other one? High Plains Drifter, right?
High Plains
Drifter. Pale Rider are similar.
Yeah.
Except in High Plains Drifter, you get more. They tell you more about the character, right? I like the fact
Well,
that Pale Rider is more ambiguous.
And
I love the
correct
title.
me if I'm wrong here, but I believe in High Plains Drifter, I think you get a little more of the I'm going to run this town. And it's more of a you get more law in that one.
Yeah, and
I guess is what I'm trying to say.
What's funny about Eastwood is he's all over the place, but there's a lot of
I think that's good though. I feel like I see growth in his stuff.
I think that's true, especially even his non-Western stuff later. Right?
Yes, yeah.
But I think in Pale Rider you get more of the justice aspect of it,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yeah.
And he throws in the semi-spiritual,
Yeah.
You
really wonder where that guy's at, right?
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so I'm good with 3. You're gonna be angry because I put True Grit at number 2.
Wow, the newer
The new one, yeah.
Wow, really?
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't see it as okay. I should have said when I was talking about it as my number 5, not just him. Also, what's her name? Haley something.
Yeah, her.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the female lead. She also did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
In that movie.
Yeah. Well, and even Matt Damon as the
that's true.
the total jerk.
That's true. Oh. Yeah, it is a really good movie. I'm surprised at 2 though.
It's so watchable. I mean, I think I've seen it 2 or 3 times.
Oh,
already.
okay. That might be where we have a problem.
You don't think so?
No, watchability for me is not a definer of greatness.
Well, I'm gonna. All right, so this is where we maybe disagree because on all of these lists of westerns are so many from like the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
I just can't stand to watch. They're so boring.
So, okay, my number 3 was The Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
Even the East one, the Sergio Leone, you have to. The only reason I can watch those is because I know.
Yeah, you have previous experience.
But some of the other ones, they're not even that good.
Yeah.
Right,
well,
to
and the
start
other
with,
thing
right?
about The Good, Bad, and the Ugly is it has Ennio Morricone as doing the score, right?
Yep.
Well, all those movies did, right? The Sergio Leone ones.
Yep.
I think he did almost all the scores for the Clint Eastwood ones.
Yep.
But the thing is, it's so compelling. The score is so compelling. It adds to the movie. Whereas, you go to some of these other ones,
No, you're
like
not gonna get that.
like the John Wayne movies, the scores are terrible.
They're all aren't they all the same?
Pretty much. Yeah.
So I knew you wouldn't like True Grit at number 2. I know you like the movie, but
Yeah, I like it, and I like that you have it on your list. Kind of surprised in a way.
it's that high.
I was surprised that I actually
was so
was
hard.
When I said it at 5. I thought you were going to have a problem with it.
No. This is so hard because there's within a range of only 5.
It's really yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's like if you look at a list of the best movies of all time, and you look at like number 1 and number 10, you're like, how could you?
Yeah, how do you,
no way you could-
differentiate between
Yeah.
the two? Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
so my number 2 is Unforgiven.
Oh, so interesting.
See, the tough part about this is there are some of the 70s and 80s Clint Eastwood things that are really good.
Yeah.
There are some of them that lean more toward the Dirty Harry kind of.
Yeah.
It's just overdone. This was a great breakthrough. This was like an iconoclastic piece, yet it remained true to the Western tradition. And I think that's why it's number 2 for me.
I think that, and there were so many people that were upset because there was no hero.
Yes, yes.
How could you make a Western where everyone is like gray?
Well, right. I mean, you had one bad guy, right? And then you had everyone else that was like slightly good.
Yeah.
And I think the other problem people had with it on the more conservative bent was that the hookers were the good guys to a large degree. Which, I like the whole idea that this guy cut a hooker, right? Mm-hmm. Ruining her value.
Right. Yeah, we're talking about...
Right, the economics of it was the hooker economics, right? This is like a...
Not as a woman.
Right.
Or a person.
Exactly, right? And I like that. Because while you didn't have a hero, you had a guy that was, yes, he was paid. But he was willing to go to bat for the hookers. And as time went on, you saw that even if he wasn't paid, he still would have done this.
All that, and I like the part that as the movie progresses, there's all these. It starts with that horrific thing, right, and it ends up not being quite true because the story at the beginning is like he killed her and like strung her up or something, right?
Right.
And then you see like the questioning in Eastwood's character as he's like, oh, well, he cut her face.
Right. Well, and the thing is, he had, quote unquote, got religion.
Right.
Right? That was one of the big things.
Well, which was thinly veiled at best, right?
Right. So if he had got religion, could he really defend this person's, not honor, but defend their economic value?
Instead of just defending them as a person.
Right. Yeah. Which I think that's why it's number 2 for me.
To your point about his progression as a filmmaker, I agree.
This is going to be interesting. You're going to hate my number
I don't think so, because my number... Which one are we on?
Number 1?
Number 1? My number 1 is Unforgiven.
Oh, okay. I love yours. You're going to hate mine.
All right. I'm bracing myself.
My number 1 is Wyatt Earp. The Kevin Costner version of Tombstone.
Yep.
It's really long.
Yep.
And I think that puts people off. But Doc Holliday, done better. Wyatt Earp, done better. Everything about this film, in my mind, it's the complete Western. Of the old school.
It's on my list.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No. It's on my list. It's not
okay. It's not quite that high. I got you.
I do love... Again, in 5, I wouldn't have put it that high, but I do like it, and I like it better than Tombstone.
Yes.
I like Costner's movies in general. A couple of them not so good, but
yeah,
his epics.
Yeah, generally he hits a good tone with the epics.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I can't argue with it too much at number 1.
And
it's definitely better than Tombstone.
What the sad part is, it's my number 1 merely because it covers every base. And it's done well. Every bit of it is done well. There's I guess what detracts from it for me, and what made it so difficult to say it's number 1, is that it doesn't have this one standout part.
No, there's no, I'm your Huckleberry.
Right, exactly.
Right?
Even though Doc Holliday's done better, in my opinion.
Yep. So, interesting, as I was reading about every Western ever made while we were compiling this.
In 2 nights.
He was part of Tombstone to begin with. Mm-hmm. And decided he didn't like how it was being made, and he went and made his own, right?
Right, exactly.
And did not do nearly as well as Tombstone, which kind of, to our point earlier about the Academy, right?
Right.
What people watch.
Right. Well, and that's why I was making
terrible.
my point earlier about how watchability isn't necessarily something I care about all that much. Because...
Well,
this Wyatt Earp, this is the difference between... Okay, so you have the old True Grit and the new True Grit. Yeah. The new True Grit, easy to watch. Mm-hmm. This, you have Tombstone, and you have Wyatt Earp. Tombstone's actually really easy to watch.
It's much easier to watch.
Yeah. However, Wyatt Earp's so much better.
Well, and that could be why it is I can watch Kevin Costner movies in general, because you kind of know, aside from the couple that he's really not done well. Hmm. Yes, they're longer, they're more drawn out, but they're worth
qualitatively.
More.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So those are our top 5.
Wow.
You want to talk about?
I don't want to quibble too much, actually.
No, I wouldn't quibble too much. I would throw out some other ones that I like that wouldn't be in the top 5. The rest of the Eastwood ones are in there somewhere.
Yeah. The only one that I struggle with, High Plains Drifter. That's the only one I struggle with. And I think it's just because it's law heavy. It's the idea that he's going to control the townspeople. He's going to, and maybe in a reversal of that, maybe we should see it as a good.
That in though, right?
I think so, and I think it just went a little too far.
Yeah.
And I think this was late '80s, if I remember correctly.
I think so. Yep.
So I think that it was part of his departure, and then he turned very different from that with his newer ones, and I like that.
We'll call them honorable mentions.
Yeah.
310 to Yuma.
Yeah, that one was at the fringes of my list.
It was at the
right?
fringes, and the person I'm talking about, like Jeff Bridges, is Christian Bale.
Yeah,
who
Christian
does
Bale.
those same kind of movies that he wants to do that he thinks
That's
that
true.
were good.
Yeah, he did some movie.
I really think he only did Batman because he thought it was good, not because he wanted to,
Yeah, I agree with you. Some good proof for that is that he did some ridiculous movie about. I can't even think of what it was about, but it was about the idea of balance. The controlling powers ran everything, and there was like a priesthood of people who went around killing everyone who thought differently, and he was part of the priesthood. And he turned out, when it all came down to it, he like broke open the whole thing. I think it was the priesthood was protecting everyone from vampires or something like this. Like, it just doesn't make any sense as a movie.
But
when you watch it, his role is really good. So yeah, I would say that's exactly how Christian Bale is. And ironically, I think to a large degree, the other star of 3:10 to Yuma is kind of the same way.
Yeah. I guess his big one would be Gladiator, right?
Mm-hmm. But beyond that, what do you really know him for? People know him for things like...
Commander.
Do they really know him for that, though?
No, that was way less.
Way less, but really good role. They did it wrong, but a really good role. If you read the books for that scene, for the Aubrey Maturin series, Master and Commander would have been so much better if they just followed the book, you know?
As with most
A
books.
Beautiful Mind. That would have been a terrible movie if he wasn't in it. I mean, it was a terrible movie, but he made it a little bit better.
Yeah.
A lot of his movies, he's not the, like, big billable star, right?
No.
He's hit or miss as far as that goes.
Yeah.
But he makes a bad movie good or reasonable.
I'll go along with that.
Alone on his own. And I think Christian Bale does that too. How
Yes.
ridiculous were those Batman movies without him as Batman?
Oh.
I mean, they really were, especially the last one. We saw the last one together, ironically.
Yeah.
And we walked out and we're like, really?
Yeah.
We would have been like,
The ending.
why did I waste my money if he wasn't in it?
Oh. We probably would have left 20 minutes in.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Particularly if it was Ben Affleck. Gosh. All right, let's go back to the Westerns now.
Ben Affleck. Is that even a...
I've heard that he's cast as Batman.
So I have a list of... not a list. I have a few that are technically in the genre, but...
Oh, wait, if I may.
Yeah.
Honorable mentions. You went for 3:10 to Yuma. Did you have any more?
Well, Wyatt Earp would have been in my...
Okay.
And I like Tombstone.
Oh, wow.
But it's way further down.
Okay.
It's more of it's an eye candy Western. Not eye candy, but like you said,
Wow.
easy to watch.
All right. Well, okay.
It's infinitely watchable. Like, I could sit... If I want to watch Western, I just put Tombstone on, right?
All right, so on my list of the worst, Tombstone's on my list.
Really?
It is. I feel like it's almost childish.
The reason I don't think that is because I think people have this mythical view of Wyatt Earp and cowboys in general, and that movie is like...
It
Well, he
captured the
was-
falsity of the thing. Is that what you're getting
Yeah,
to?
I think so.
Okay.
You know, he ran a gambling and liquor establishment, and his wife was a drug addict, and he was sleeping around, and all the brothers the same. They weren't like the heroes.
I would never watch that movie again if it weren't for two people. To a lesser extent, Val Kilmer. I do believe he did a great job.
Yeah.
Great job. I also will say that it was much better done by Dennis Quaid in Wyatt Earp. But he did do a great job. And Sam Elliott.
Oh, Sam Elliott, by far, yeah.
He's, out of all the Western guys, unsung Western guys, Sam Elliott's the man.
Yeah, I'll agree with
Maybe
that.
out of all unsung actors, Sam Elliott's the man. I really love him in so many movies that you would never even think he's in them.
Yeah, that could be.
However, we were talking about the dude abiding earlier.
Mm-hmm.
He's fantastic in that movie. And he plays this little bit role right at the beginning. And I think he might sum up at the end a little of the Big Lebowski. I can't remember. Remember, he's the Western type character.
He's the guy at the bar in the bowling alley. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he's
Well,
the man
he narrates, right?
Yeah, he stitches everything together, right? Yeah, so for me, while I could watch it 1,000 times more probably, it's only for those two things. Kurt Russell's terrible.
Oh no, he's
whoever the woman
interestingly, I think he's the worst part of the movie.
Agreed. Well, and who's the woman? I can't remember who the woman that he's loved.
Who it is? No.
She's so horrible.
Yeah.
And then there's this play up with the gay
She's
guy.
She's almost not believable as the horrible wife because it's so bad. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many problems with that drive me nuts. Can I do my honorable mentions? Because we'll get to the worst.
Well, I got one more to go with Tombstone. I would just say if it as a fun semi-western is The Quick and the Dead.
That's
because I like Gene Hackman.
That was almost on my worst list, and I took it off because of Gene Hackman.
Yeah, I think Gene Hackman saves that.
Yeah, he does. He does. In fact,
it's not a serious western.
Right. I left Tombstone on the worst list, but took that one off because I think, Gene Hackman in that movie is even better than Val Kilmer or Sam Elliott in Tombstone.
Oh yeah,
he kills it. I mean, Gene Hackman, man. I think of all the movies that he's been in, and I'm like, he's really never been. Everyone thinks of him as a star, but he's never really been a star.
No, actually, that movie, Quick and the Dead, and the one about the NSA spying.
Yes, Enemy of the State with Will Smith. Fantastic movie. Yeah. And he's in Unforgiven.
Yes.
He's Little Bill, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and he's great in that. He's really unsung, but he's better as a backup than a leading man, I think, to a large degree.
Yeah,
French
he can't
Connection
play by himself.
Don't tell me French Connection's a good movie. It's not a great movie.
I like it, but it's not. I don't sit in. I gotta watch French Connection again.
Right? Yeah, you're flipping through. You'd go to Tombstone before you went to French Connection.
We're way off. We're in spy movies in the 70s now.
This is what we do.
Give us your honorable mention, and then I want to give a couple others.
I have two. First one is Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, which you said you haven't seen yet. Yeah. It is fantastic. It's a great movie, and I haven't seen it in a while, but I would almost dare to say it's a great movie to even watch with your family.
Really?
It's great wit in it. It's Paul Newman, and it's Robert Redford.
So between Horse Whisperer and Butch Cassidy, which...
I wish you could see my expression right now. Yeah. So that one, I'd have to watch it again to be sure on language and that sort of stuff. No, that's 80s. Yeah, that's clearly into the 80s. But it's really well done. It is a really good movie. I would say it's not representative of a Western.
Yeah.
It's more of a Western comedy / train robber type
there's
heist movie.
There's a lot of those.
Yeah, there's a ton of those. My other honorable mention, and again, it's bordering on the line of Western, is Jeremiah Johnson.
I have never seen that either.
No! Oh my goodness. I actually might own that as well. So you will see it. That's more of a mountain man movie.
Okay.
I mean, it's in Western, West. So to say, but Robert Redford does an amazing job in that as well.
So you're a Redford fan, huh?
No. I like some of his movies.
Would have distinguished those two things.
Have you ever seen the movie Sneakers?
Yes, I own Sneakers.
It's a fantastic movie. Robert Redford.
Yeah.
But he does do some good movies.
He doesn't make the movie, though.
No, he doesn't. Who does? Well, this should be an interesting...
The blind guy.
Yes!
I don't know his name.
I don't even know his name, but he's amazing in it.
Hilarious.
Yeah, he's actually in a lot of movies that I wouldn't... He's like a Sam Elliott.
He's another, unsung.
Yeah.
So I got a couple, 3 that are not necessarily, like you were saying, not necessarily real Westerns. One, Kevin Costner, Dances with Wolves.
Yeah.
Technically a Western.
I saw it on tons of lists.
It's in that period, in that area, but it doesn't feel like a Western because it's just him for so long in the movie.
Right. Well, and the real...
It's really not a Western...
The more modern Western it's not an Indian movie.
No, exactly.
Okay. Not a Native American movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I do think that's a fantastic movie. If you're looking at it from a whole, maybe this is how we should have treated the Native Americans. It's a fantastic movie.
Historical,
as a rebuttal to how things actually went down, it's a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
However, I don't know that it holds up as some great ideal of a Western. Agreed.
No. Another one that is people have listed, and I totally disagree as a Western, but Legends of the Fall.
Yeah, that was on the
It's
list.
weird, right?
We've talked about this a little bit off mic.
It's more of a coming of age movie in that period.
Coming of
right?
age, a war movie, a prohibition movie, a brother movie.
Yeah.
It's wow. If we ever do greatest movies ever, greatest dramas, even maybe we'll just put them. Drama's better category for that, right?
Yep.
If we ever do that, that one's going to be a contender for me.
It'd be in the top 5 for me.
I think so. That's a really, really good movie.
The last one is it's not actually a movie; it's a miniseries. Hatfields and McCoys, not in the West, but in that period.
That's the TNT. Was it TNT? that did that?
AMC, one of those.
Yeah, one of them. It might have been
with
AMC.
Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner and
Bill Paxton.
Bill Paxton. Bill Paxton is another Sam Elliott type, right?
Yeah, I actually like Kevin Costner's role better.
Oh yeah,
as
yeah.
Hatfield.
I'm just saying, but you think of Kevin Costner as like the leading man always, right? Bill Paxton's like the unsung guy that actually does a pretty darn good job as an actor.
Yeah, but they did cast him, and I love the miniseries, but they did cast him as the weaker of the two.
That's what I mean, though, right? He's never the leading
No.
man, right? Even I can't even think of what his most quote unquote famous movie is. Him as
I don't think he has a famous movie.
right. That's what I mean. He's a great Sam Elliott.
Yeah.
I watched Roadhouse. I haven't watched that in ages. I watched Roadhouse months ago. Because there was something about the whole Patrick Swayze thing. Mm-hmm. It's like the tragedy of him dying so young and everything. And I thought, oh, look, Roadhouse is on Netflix suddenly. I think it came up in an email or
I'm
something.
not a Patrick Swayze fan.
Neither am I. But the Sam Elliott character in that was
I didn't know he was in
that. No one knows he's in that. But he's amazing.
The only other one I would throw in is not.
I have a man crush on Sam Elliott.
Apparently, it's not a Western. But it's a fun movie. Is Maverick, the new one?
I almost said that
It's
as
not
like
a Western, though.
a Western comedy.
It's a Western comedy,
right?
But it's fun.
So Western comedies, I would say Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid.
Okay.
Which you'll see that, and then you'll say, yeah, it's better than Maverick. But Maverick would be number 2 for me, and 3 would be Blazing Saddles.
I thought about putting Blazing Saddles on as a joke, or saying that as number 5, right? But it's a fun movie, too.
It is a fun movie. Again, not a great, quote-unquote, Western, right?
Well, so overall, not a lot of disagreement in the top 5.
Yes and no.
Yes and no. It's tough.
It's tough. I have one that I'd like to talk about a little bit, because I put this in the range of split decision. Because we had talked about doing top 5, worst 5. Well, between what I came up with as the worst and the best was this one, because it drives me nuts how much I like it, even though I don't feel like I should like it at all, and that's Open Range.
I almost put it on the list. Another Kevin Costner movie.
Kevin Costner and the man.
Robert Duvall. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Supposedly that his movie Broken Trail, he's also in this Broken Trail movie that a lot of people rank as a really good movie. I haven't seen it, and now I have to.
I do like Open Range. I probably saw it nearly when it came out, so it's been a while.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it's been 5 or 6 years since I've seen it. Yeah.
But I don't think I could put it in a top list because
and the other thing is
it obviously wasn't that memorable.
It's all about how these people can graze on other people's land, and I'm like, it's their land, they can't. I understand that was.
You know what? Now you say that jogs my memory. I remember thinking
right. There's
that,
this philosophical divide that you have to cross to like the movie.
Yeah.
But Robert Duvall, awesome in that movie. Not Clint Eastwood. Wow. Kevin Costner, awesome. Kevin Costner as a supporting actor is actually damn good.
Really?
I don't. I'm astonished by how much I like Kevin Costner.
I've come to realize that, actually. And is there a Robert Duvall movie that's not good? We'll stop
Silence.
it right there. We'll come back to that in a later podcast. All right, that's our list. I know we have pissed a lot of people off, and there are movies that we didn't put on the list that we should have. So send us your hate mail, and we will discuss maybe next time. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you. I won't say 2 weeks because who knows when it'll be again, but we'll see you next time we get a chance to record.